Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Hello all, what is going on? How y'all doing this Sunday afternoon? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and I'm back here for some more baseball news as we have a lot more transactions to talk about as we are approaching the end of spring training. We're going to talk about some stuff that's happened throughout spring training. We have two, of course, videos as well, some minor and some major transactions. This one's the more so minor ones, the ones that there's not going to be as much to talk about. The bigger ones, though, will be coming in the major transactions video that will be recorded as well today. So without further ado, we got 16 transactions to talk about here. Starting off with someone who's kind of had a busy last month. Justin Wilson, former Pirate. About a month ago, signed a minor league deal with the Dodgers. Pitched fairly well, striking out 9 hitters in 4 innings. But there seemed like there wasn't really a place for him in that Dodgers bullpen. So he opted out of the deal earlier this past week. And then he signed a 1-year deal, a major league deal, with the Cincinnati Reds. Of course, he should have a better spot to get in the young Reds bullpen as well. Coming off a couple, of course, injury seasons. But, of course, he is, active now. Looking strong, and hopefully he can get a shot for sure in the Reds bullpen. As I know he did for sure at some point appear with the Reds. But yeah, definitely a solid left-handed reliever in that bullpen. So again, he did great this spring training, just didn't have a lot of options with the Dodgers. But seems to be a little more, have a little more options though with the Reds. So we'll see, of course, where he goes there. The second one is G-Man Choi. G-Man Choi signed a minor league deal with the New York Mets about a month ago. He'll be 33 in May, seeking to rebound after he had kind of like an injury-plagued 2023, splitting the year between the Pirates and the Padres. And, he's always been a solid, bat. He's spent most of his career, though, of course, with the Rays in the majors. He's probably going to more so be a backup at first base, or he also as well could maybe get some spots in the designated hitter spot. I haven't really seen what his stats were for spring training so far. I know he's gotten a handful of appearances in there as well, but hopefully he can find some way to get onto the roster and see what goes from there. So the Mets have G-Man Choi on a minor league deal. Somebody else the Mets grabbed on a minor league deal, but it's not looking good. My boy, Luke Voit. Luke Voit signed a minor league deal with the Mets back on the 19th, agreeing to a minor league deal, and he, of course, has reported the spring training. Unfortunately, it's not looking good for the shortened 2020 season home run hitter with 22 in 60 games, Mr. Voit, as he's hitting just 111, coming off of a 2023 season where he started off and won a job on the Brewers roster over their longtime player, Keston Huera, but of course struggled through 22 games before he was then released. Signed with the Mets on a minor league deal, spent time in AAA there, but he got released again earlier in the month, of course. If he can find a way to get it going there, he can definitely, be a good bat, but He is 33 years old. Again, we got Pete Alonso in there, unless the Mets do trade him, because I've heard there's been consideration of trading him since his contract years are coming up, it sounds like. But of course, he could find himself maybe in a DH spot. But I don't know. I don't really see Voit sticking around, if I'm being honest. He hasn't been released yet, but I don't really see him contributing to the Mets right now, unfortunately. Like I said, at one point, I was like begging for him to get an opportunity in the starting position. 2 years ago with the Padres, and we were supposed to be in the Padres Nationals, he didn't do too bad. But of course, he still kind of was a little injury plagued, a little inconsistent. But yeah, I think Luke Voigt's possible days of being a star, unfortunately, it might have passed. So it would be surprised if they released him, but we'll see what happens. I'm just surprised to see he definitely got a shot in spring training, though, but we'll see. Luke Voit, though, is on a minor league deal with the Mets, so currently. The Cubs grabbed former Diamondback David Peralta on a minor league deal as well. Peralta spent the entire season with the Dodgers. He struggled through one of the worst seasons of his 10-year career, hitting just .259 and 422 plate appearances. He made plenty of contact, but he only hit 7 home runs. Of course, the lowest he has had since a 2016 injury campaign. His on-base and slugging percentage also reached his career lows as well. At the end of this last season, though, Peralta did undergo surgery to repair a flexor tendon in his throwing stem. He was expected to be ready by spring training as well. And I guess I will check to see what numbers he has done so far, because I think I have seen his name appear a little bit so far. Let's go here. Go to the Chicago Cubs. Go to home runs, and let me see if I can see him in here. I do not. Let's try to go by hits. See if we've got Peralta in here as well. I'm not seeing anything so far. That's not good. Uh-oh, I thought I had been seeing some stuff with him, but maybe I was wrong. Runs. Oh, here. Well, he's had 9 at-bats and 333 with 2 RBIs. So I guess okay. He could get a spot as like a 4th outfield or something, or maybe something until he gets back on track maybe. But he is starting to get up there in age too, so we'll see, of course, where it could go. But yeah, that's a decent gamble, I would say, for the Cubs. Another good gamble is definitely the very exciting Baltimore Orioles making 2 acquisitions recently on the major deals. First, they agreed to sign Julio Tehran on a minor league deal. He could be a battle for a rotation or a wrong relief job. He is a 33-year-old starter and 11 of 14 outings with the Brewers last year. Did okay, 4.40 ERA and 71 2/3 of an innings. Again, definitely not as strong as he was, of course, with the Braves. But again, he still has got the experience. Definitely could add some depth into that rotation if needed as well. As there are, of course, a lot of names, and definitely people have a lot of sights set on these Orioles, who have a lot of young talent and are looking to maybe be a possible favorite to win that American League East. That always tough division for sure. Again, got Rays in there that still got names, Blue Jays. Don't ever count the Yankees or Red Sox, although both of them been kind of injury prone and kind of got a lot of old people on the team. But I think it's a great grab by the Orioles, and again, they're going to be making some big numbers for sure in 2024. Another contributor as well they got is Kolten Wong. They had signed to a minor league deal as well after splitting the 2023 season between the Mariners and Dodgers. Struggling quite a bit. Didn't really seem to do well. He battled 300 with a pair of home runs though in his brief time with the Dodgers after struggling with the Mariners. We all know, of course, Wong definitely is not much of a power threat, although he somehow has hit like 5 of his 30 13 career home runs as walk-off homers against the Pirates. I'm pretty sure he's hit more than that, of course, but still. He's definitely been a Gold Glove winner at second base. He definitely, of course, has been very reliable for sure in anybody's lineup. But he is starting to get up there a little bit in age. We'll see, of course, if he fits in as well, as the Orioles definitely have a bunch of young people like Gunnar Henderson is there as well, and Jordan Westberg, Connor Norby, and Jackson Holliday, the current number one prospect in baseball, who I believe is the son of Matt Holliday as well. So kind of a crowded team, but, you know, Kolten can kind of contribute in some ways. So we'll see how that goes. The Red Sox, by the way, they signed C.J. Cron to a minor league deal, as the Red Sox were looking to bring in a veteran to compete for a bench spot. And Cron, who's now 34 years old, has been a very strong bat for many clubs. But unfortunately, 2023 was a frustrating season with an injury. Beginning the year with a 2-year extension he signed in 2021, but he made multiple trips to the DL last year. He got traded to the Angels midway and only got into 71 games on the year between two clubs. He still showed a little bit of pop, hitting 12 home runs, but he only hit 248 and walked just 6.1% of his plate appearances. He definitely has, solid glove work. Definitely play first base, maybe some DH and outfield as well. But hopefully with a strong campaign, he could maybe bounce back and get some spots in there. Of course, they also have a bunch of defensive players like Masato Yoshida and, of course, their franchise star, Rafael Devers as well. So maybe a little tough, but we'll see. I think he could possibly turn it around for sure if he's given an opportunity and be a nice power bat for the Sox. The Blue Jays would also grab a nice lefty power bat for their lineup, signing Danny Vogelbach to a minor league deal as well. He spent the past year and a half with the Mets after acquiring from the Pirates for now setup man Colin Holderman. And although he had a strong finish to his 2022 campaign, he didn't maintain that production last year. In 319 play appearances, he just hit 233 with 13 homers. Decent walk rate. So, for a part-time player, I don't know. I don't really think that that's horrible. Vogelbach's always been a guy who's been a low batting average guy, filled with power. Of course, his best days to first were definitely with the Mariners, but he's just a guy who's meant to come to the plate, try to hit a 450, 500-foot long ball into the Allegheny River or any stadium that has like a special little landing spot. But of course, Blue Jays always seem to have a lot of players who could definitely hit for power as well, for sure. Definitely within the past 10, 15 years for sure, especially after the days of Jose Bautista and Edwin Encarnacion, Teoscar Hernandez, several others as well. Vogelbach, of course, was not going to be like a full-time player, that's for sure, but he could be a nice power bat to add to their lineup. We will see, though. The Diamondbacks signed former longtime Ranger Elvis Andrus to a minor league deal recently. He will join Kevin Newman as a veteran non-roster invitee looking for a backup role on the Diamondbacks roster. Currently blocked off at shortstop by Geraldo Perdomo at the beginning of the season. And, of course, they also have to deal with Emmanuel Rivera and Jace Peterson as well. Andrus, though, has probably a lot of the most, among active players, has a lot of experience at shortstop with 15 innings. But before last year, of course, he then moved to second base and even got some time at third base with playing for the White Sox last year. In his prime, he was definitely an excellent defender. Of course, has fallen off as he's gotten older a little bit. He hit just 251, though, which he's been more known for the glove than the bat. But defensively, he could be solid. The 35-year-old could find a guaranteed deal coming off an underwhelming season, though, again, he's not guaranteed definitely a landing spot as well on the main roster. But we'll see where it goes. Again, defensively, he's definitely reliable in that middle infield, especially if he's starting to bounce around. His main position is shortstop, but second and third as well, he could definitely contribute there as well. So I think there's a little more flexibility there with Elvis Andrus. We'll come back to the Diamondbacks in a second. The next one, though, we have is the Padres signed Brad Miller, veteran utility man, to a minor league deal as well. Miller is now 34 years old, is coming off a very off season, making several trips to the DL due to a right oblique strain and left hamstring strain. He only played in 27 games last year, hitting just .214. 2022 as well, he was dealing with some hip issues and a neck strain. He played in just 81 games, hitting .212. He had a nice, strong couple-year run, though, between the Indians, Phillies, and Cardinals. I know there was 1 year, previously, with the Rays, I remember he hit 30. He got to the 30 homer mark, which I was surprised. But yeah, I mean, utility man for sure. But of course, they still got the Padres, despite the fact that they did get rid of Juan Soto, still have a pretty stacked roster on the field for sure right now. Having Fernando Tatis Jr. right field. We got Jurickson Profar, Jake Cronenworth, Manny Machado. I can't remember what their shortstop's name is. Second baseman. But they do, of course, have Xander Bogaerts in there as well. So he could, if able to have a solid spring, maybe end like a utility man deal to definitely float around a bit. But I don't think he's really going to fit in much either, if I'm being honest. But you never know. We'll see. Back to the Diamondbacks. They also signed former Cardinal Randall Grichuk to a 1-year deal, and he got a spot on the 40-man roster, so he's expected to be available for the season as well. Grichuk hit .267 with 16 homers last year and 471 plate appearances with the Rockies and the Angels. Solid power bat. He's of course has more so been kind of like a platoon guy against lefties. But still, he definitely can help out. Although the Diamondbacks do have a good outfield, of course, in their rookie last year, which is probably going to be their future for a while. Corbin Carroll. They have Alex Thomas, as well as also they just got Jock Peterson as well there. So, of course, I think Grichuk can definitely play all three outfield positions. Probably more so as like a platoon player as well to help out there as well. Of course, they also got guys like Eduardo Rodriguez and, of course, Lourdes Gonzalez as well. You also grabbed Eugenio Suarez this past year, so maybe some DH duties as well. Because the Diamondbacks still, they're like the underdogs of the playoffs who won the pennant last year, but they're still looking to compete. I think they got a couple names in. Grichuk is a good bat to throw in there as well to have ready to fire whenever needed. He can still hit some decent power, get about 15, 20 homers, give him about 450 to 500 bats. They'll be valuable. The Nationals then signed Eddie Rosario to a minor league deal back on March the 6th, as he definitely looks to be kind of like a veteran contributor to the very young Nationals club. 32 years old. He's been playing for 9 big league seasons. This will be his 4th club as well. Last season with the Braves in 142 games, he hit .255 with 21 homers, 24 doubles, and still some numbers that for a rebuilding team like the Nationals, he could for sure contribute. I know he's definitely kind of been on the down run, but he of course peaked his best with the Twins for sure. But I think he's definitely a nice bat and good piece to help out this Nationals young talent, young squad, who are still building. Not many names I would recognize. The Nationals are a team that literally, when they come into town, okay, who's on the Nationals? I don't know many names at all who play for the Nationals, except for maybe him, C.J. Abrams. That might be it. Because they won the World Series in 2019, and then it's been complete ever since. It's just like they just fell off the face of the planet. But, yeah. Also, whatever happened to Steven Strasburg? Speaking of the Nationals, because remember, he originally was planning to retire, but then they pulled his celebration and basically planned for him to stay. Nothing really right now. I mean, when we pull up... Actually, no. because the last numbers are showing is from the 2022 regular season. He's still not pitching. I don't know what the heck's going on with Steven Strasburg. I'll look into that one more to see what's going on. But, I just thought of that for sure, too. But Eddie Rosario, nice grab, I say, for a veteran presence for the Nationals. Very good choice. Again, he can still hit probably about 20 homers, giving him the at-bats. Definitely not as big of a name as he used to be, but I think he's a good piece for that Nationals rebuilding club. Here's kind of a little bit of a reunion here, though. The Giants, back on February 17th, signed Pablo Sandoval to a minor league deal with a non-roster invitation to spring training. Of course, Sandoval, who is 37 years old, was part of the Giants' run when they won 3 World Series in 5 years for sure, before he departed ways with the Red Sox through free agency, and ever since then, it's just been downhill for him completely. He struggled with injuries and ineffectiveness, and the Red Sox designated for assignments in July of 2017. Re-signed with the Giants just days later and spent the next 3 years in a bench role, hitting just .253 trips to the plate between 2018 and 2020. He parted ways from the Giants again for the second time in the shortened 2020 season. Signed with the Braves, made one appearance for Atlanta during the stretch before returning for the 2021 season, where he played in 69 games, where he was traded to the Indians for, who we just talked about, Eddie Rosario. He was released immediately without making a single appearance with the club, and appeared in several leagues in Latin America and a Mexican league as well. And he's been basically elsewhere since, and he is getting another shot. 37 years old, 38, but probably getting ready to finish up. I mean, he still has to compete with, they just got rid of J.D. Davis. There's Wilmer Flores, Lamont Wade Jr. They signed another big name we'll talk about in the major transactions. I feel like that he'll probably have another bench role, probably more so just a way to reunite with the club he's probably known most for before hanging it up. He's probably getting ready to retire, but just wants a little more time. We'll see. But we'll see what happens. Pablo Sandoval, the Big Panda, is back with the Giants, but probably just for a brief stint. But we'll see how it goes. Let's see if you guys remember this man. Greg Bird. Remember him? Yeah, he was once the next big first baseman for the Yankees. It's not been worked out since. But Greg Bird, back on March 3rd, signed with the Mexican League's Cheros de Jalisco, however you pronounce it. He has been previously playing in the Australian Baseball League. Bird is now 31 years old. Let's talk about Greg Bird here for a second. Was a 5th round draft pick of the Yankees in 2011. And again, seeming like the club's everyday first baseman after Mark Teixeira was wrapping up his career. He didn't do too bad in 46 games in his rookie year, hitting .261 with 11 homers. But then he suffered a torn labrum. Went surgery, and he was unavailable for the entire 2016 season. And then when he finally got healthy, on opening day in 2017, I think it was, he hit just 119 games before returning to the injury list with a foot injury. He then returned at the end of August and was okay, hit .253 with 8 homers and just 96 play appearances. And the injuries continued. And when he played, he sucked. Following that year, 197, 92 games. And then they finally gave up on him, signing minor league deals after that with the Rangers, Phillies, Rockies, Blue Jays. Even brief return to the Yankees between 2020 and 2022. He didn't make an official appearance, though, for a couple other those organizations. And then he did well with AAA, but then he would then, at the level with the Yankees 2022, hasn't found, he just was once a high prospect, and he just hasn't found a role since. Of course, he played in Australia's Frontier League apparently recently, And now he's going to be playing in the Mexican League. So maybe someday he can get a shot. I mean, it's just, I feel bad because I feel bad because the injuries thing have hurt him as well. But it's like forever he was like basically listed as the Yankees' next first baseman, and it just never happened, unfortunately. So I do wish Greg Bird the best of luck. Maybe again, I don't know how he did in this Australian league. Hopefully, he does well with the Mexican League again. Maybe he could get another shot at being an everyday first baseman in the majors someday. We'll see, though. Speaking of the Yankees, though, another former big name, a bigger name who did, of course, have a successful career. Robbie Cano, back on March 1st, announced he has signed with the Mexican League as well. I don't know if it's the same team, but Cano, who's just 41 years old, thrived in the early parts of his career with the Yankees, signed a 10-year deal with the Mariners, which, of course, he performed at an all-star level, but then, of course, got hit with his first of two performance-enhancing drug suspensions in May of 2018. After he returned to the Mariners later in the year, that offseason he was traded to the Mets along with Edwin Diaz in a 5-player package that Seattle got in return. He had some success with the Mets, but still dealt with some injuries. And then, of course, after 2020, he received another suspension. And that was, of course, for an entire year. Returned in 2022, but he bounced all around. Was released by the Mets, playing just 12 games. Signed with the Padres. Got into another dozen games with the club before getting released. Just to rejoin the Padres again on a minor league deal. And then he got traded to the Braves for cash. And then the Braves let him go just after 9 games. And he's been a free agent since August of 2022. Of course, his mega contract ran in 2023, meaning he could have signed for the league minimum last year with the Mets on the hook for the remainder, but no one did so. And he hasn't been out of action. He played winter ball in the Dominican Republic the past 2 years. And he also played for the Dominican Republic in the 2023 World Baseball Classic. Seems that he still won. He's going to be joining Diablos Rojos for 2024. But again, he's 41 years old. Does he really have anything left in the tank? I don't know. Robbie Cano still wants to play, though, at 41 years old. But I guess not. I guess he's not done yet. And then finally, the last one we're going to talk about. I don't know how old this guy is. I haven't heard about this man for a long time. Remember this man? Hyun-Jin Ryu. Former Dodger. Spent the past several years with the Blue Jays. I can't remember if he was a Cy Young or if he had competed Cy Young. We'll find out in a second here. But he's done with Major League Baseball. And he's heading back to South Korea. Their Korean baseball organization's Hanwha Eagles signed him to an 8-year deal worth $17 billion, equivalent to just over $12.4 million. Also contains an opt-out provision and an unspecific date. It's the largest contract apparently in the Korean baseball organization. He, of course, originally debuted with the Eagles in 2006 at the age of 19. Won the league's MVP award as a rookie thanks to a 2.23 ERA. And after several times there, he then was made available to major league teams. He then, of course, would eventually sign with the Dodgers on a 6-year deal, $36 million guaranteed with several performance bonuses. As Ryu pitched an even 3 ERA in 30 starts in his rookie campaign, finishing 4th in Rookie of the Year voting. He turned in a .338 mark during his sophomore season before losing almost all of 2015 and 2016 to shoulder and elbow problems. He then spent time on an injury list with lower body concerns between 2017 and 2018, but remained effective when healthy. Finished his Dodgers time with turning 182 and 2/3 innings with an MLB best 2.32 ERA in 2019. He not only was an all-star, but he was also the runner-up to Jacob deGrom in the National League Cy Young Award. He returned to free agency that winter And he signed a 4-year deal, $80 million with the Blue Jays. 2 seasons, it looked like a strong move, having the 2.69 ERA in the shortened 2020 season in 12 starts, finishing third in the Cy Young voting. The following year, he wasn't as dominant, but still managed a reasonable 4.37 ERA in 31 games. His final 2 seasons, though, were impacted by injury, battling forearm injuries in early 2022, and attempted to pitch. The injury was unsuccessful and was required Tommy John surgery in June. That kept him off the mound until well into 2023. He was reinstated August 1st, had 11 starts in the final 2 months of the season with a 3.46 ERA. His fastball, though, sat at a low, though, 88.6 miles an hour. Numbers are definitely starting to deteriorate a little bit. And now, here's his age. He's 37. And he signed an 8-year deal? Jeez, big boy. And, again, he's decided, despite the fact that a decent finish, he's decided to return home. And he wanted to pitch for the Eagles between the end of his time in MLB and his overall playing career. And he'll do that and go through his age 44 season, which will give him the ending to his major league career with a 3.27 ERA and 186 appearances, 1,055 in the third inning, struck out 934 batters and 78 wins. Two-time Cy Young Award finalist, and he also received down-ballot MVP votes in 2019 and 2020. He made 9 playoff starts over 5 separate seasons with a 4.54 ERA and 41 2/3 of frames. So, I do wish Hyun-Jin Ryu good luck in his final 8 years of his baseball career as he returns home back to Korea. And I do hope he definitely succeeds and has fun. He definitely had some strong performances when healthy in America. And again, hopefully this deal does work out for him well. And that, my friends, that is some of the more minor transactions. The last couple felt a little bit bigger, like with him and Robbie Cano and a few others I talked about. But we have some bigger signings, bigger names, bigger topics in the major transactions video coming hopefully later today. So what are your guys' thoughts on these transactions as well? Leave your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure also, as always, to slap a like on the video. Subscribe for more content coming on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well, at the Club of the Man 93. You may also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. Until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!